Welcome to another episode of Legitimate Matters. I am your host, William Paris. Let me ask you a question. Are you someone that has worked in a particular career or a particular company, and you've been with that company for 10, 20, 30 years, and suddenly you realize or ask yourself, am I even happy? But now you've invested X number of years in a particular career or a job, and you realize that you're not happy and you want to change, but you don't know how. And you're afraid to start all over again because how will you pay your bills? Well, my guest today, Trica Jean-Baptiste, is the founder and president of Morganshire Hospitality, and she has a book called Operation Reset. Trica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm very excited about this topic because I find myself in the pages of your book.
Good.
So this has been really exciting for me to have you here. So for the viewers, tell us about your path and your journey from hospitality to where you are today.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I am a former hospitality executive in PR, travel public relations, as a matter of fact. Almost 30 years,
30 years.
Several decades in-house, what we call in-house, as PR director for hotels such as La Parker Meridian right here in Midtown.
Here in New York, yeah.
Doral Hotels and Resorts, back when they were Doral, and Sendent Corporation, which is now Wyndham.
Right, these are big brands.
They were very, very big brands. And at the time, as I said, I was in-house PR director, the first African-American PR director of a major brand, hotel brand in each case. Did that for about 15 years and then decided to create my own company, a boutique PR firm, travel PR firm. And we were international. We had offices in Paris, London. Hotel brands we represented included Rocco Forte Hotels, Dubai Tourism. We represented Scotland, business tourism unit for 5 years, and award-winning and a really good run.
Well, congratulations, because I come from the hospitality industry myself, and I know that you certainly did not see, certainly when I started, African Americans in key positions. And the idea that you were the first African American in such an important role in the company, and then to move on and open up your own, which later became an award-winning public relations company, and then to work with major brands in tourism, for you, that is just an absolute accomplishment, Trica. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
And then you went on, and there's more to the story.
There's more to the story. Well, I transitioned. 2008 happened, and as we all remember, 2008 was catastrophic.
The bottom fell out.
For every sector. The bottom fell out.
Yes.
And when business did return, it returned very differently than what we'd known. And so right around that time, I realized it was time for me to move, to leave the table, per se. It was time to move forward. At that point, I spent almost 30 years in hospitality. So where do you go from there? I didn't want to start at the bottom in a completely different sector. And so I thought, how can I leverage almost 30 years of experience into something new? So I moved into real estate, commercial real estate, specializing in hospitality because, again, that's what I knew. And the transition just seemed natural to me. And so I created Morganshire Hospitality which is actually a consortium of hospitality and real estate advisors.
Wow.
We transact, basically, primarily, on a real estate level, meaning sell and purchase hotel assets. We also provide services to investors to help them realize their investment strategies.
Wow.
And pretty much our projects are domestic and international.
Well, I mean, this is really mind-blowing. This is big. And I say that because if a person is in business and you have, a job, a good job, and you decide to step out on your own, which requires a lot of courage in and of itself.
Sure.
But then for you to be able to take and all of this experience and your contacts, and to be able to launch another business on the magnitude of what you're doing is really incredible. But here's the question. You talk in your book about knowing when to leave the table, and that stuck in my head. How did you know when to leave the table?
Well, let me just give you a little bit of history on that saying. That was something my grandmother used to say to us all the time. I come from the South and Southern Baptist, and there were certain sayings that, your grandparents would say.
Right.
And by that, she pretty much meant knowing when to move on.
When to move on.
And so a lot of her sayings I have held on to throughout my business career. I knew it was time to leave the table when the economy changed. 2008 was a big warning.
Right.
I knew intuitively that when business did return, it would return very differently, especially in the PR sector. So knowing when to leave the table for our audience out there, pay attention to the red flags, the sector, the economy, and more importantly, your passion. When your passion for anything leaves you, it's time to move on.
Right.
If there's no joy and you don't get up every morning wanting to do what it is that you do, it's time to leave the table.
Then it's time to leave the table.
But you leave the table before the chair is removed, and that's another part of it. You don't want to wait too long.
I have conversations with people often, and they say to me that they want to make a change. They're not happy in the job, but they don't know what to do. Maybe for someone watching the show, one of our viewers, maybe it's time for you to leave the table. All right? But you want to do it and you want to be prepared.
Yes.
And if you want to be prepared, then you want to come back after this break and find out how to make that happen. William Parris, Legitimate Matters. We're going to break. I think you want to come back.